Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. Tonight, we'll be looking at the topic, Managing Team Dynamics and Behavior. I am Oluyemi Adeosun, and our facilitator is now a regular, Seyi Fumi Shoyemi, and we are always excited and delighted to have her on board. Ladies and gentlemen, all the same, I would like to read an excerpt from her profile very quickly. Seyi Fumi Shoyemi is a dynamic legal lawyer and also an HR professional, an accomplished leader with expertise spanning corporate law, litigation, digital publishing, human resource management, operations, and so on and so forth. Our career journey reflects deep passion for innovation, leadership, and also excellence in the evolving legal and technology landscape. She began her legal career as a corporate lawyer at MPDC before transitioning into litigation, where she sharpened her legal expertise. Embracing the intersection of law and technology, she ventured into legal tech, taking on the bold challenge of leading the team that worked on Prime in Ibadan in 2015. Her leadership and vision were instrumental in the success of the project, solidifying her position as a key player in the legal tech industry. She later spearheaded Law Pavilion's digital publishing team, ensuring the seamless integration of legal content with cutting-edge technology. Our ability to navigate the complexity of digital transformation led her to her current role as head human resources and operation, where she is committed to fostering a high-performing, people-centric environment. She is a trailblazer who thrives on pushing boundaries. She is passionate about driving innovation, operational excellence, and talent development, and she's dedicated to creating people-centered organizational structures, championing professional growth, and leveraging technology. Our multidisciplinary expertise continue to shape the future of law and digital transformation, making an invaluable force in the legal tech industry. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to us tonight on the very important subject and theme, managing team dynamics and behavior. Please, let's welcome Seyi Fumi Shoyemi. Over to you, my lord.
Good evening, Doctor, and thank you so much. It's always a very, very good privilege being here. And good evening, everybody on the call. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. As Doctor already introduced, my name is Seyi Fumi Shoyemi, and I consider it, like I said, a privilege sharing with us this evening. Let me put a caveat out there. I don't know it's all. I think one of the good things about this HR mentorship webinars is that we all get to learn from each other. So in coming up with presentations like this, it also gives the presenters an opportunity to take a deep dive, into some research and get to, learn more things, unlearn, learn. And, in discussing like this, it gives us an opportunity to also share our experiences and we all learn together. I think one of the good advantages I probably have is as father, I have a first-hand experience working when we talk about team dynamics and behavior. I kind of have a first-hand experience in it, maybe because I work in the legal tech sector, and that's because in the organization where I work, we have different teams. We have tech people, we have lawyers, we have salespeople, we have marketers, and you see everybody just comes with all sorts to the table. So looking at today's topic, at today's session, we're going to be focusing on the team dynamics and behavior, how people interact, what influences people, sometimes how people handle conflict, and as HR practitioners, right, we can guide these interactions towards performance and harmony. So at the end of this session, I think what we'll be able to achieve today is we'll be able to identify and interpret team behavioral patterns. We'll be able to understand how to influence positive team dynamics, handle conflict and disengagement effectively. I hope our session today gives us the opportunity to be able to do that. So let's go into it. The foundation of success. So when we're looking at team dynamics and behavior, the truth is it's the foundation of success, actually. So effective teamwork is central to organizational success, whether we like it or not. It's non-negotiable. Having a team that can work together in harmony, right, unified, and can achieve a common goal, it's the baseline for any organization to succeed. Team dynamics, the relationship interactions between team members can make or break team performance. When harnessed well, these invisible forces boost collaboration. So whether we like it or not, team dynamics is at the heartbeat of any organization, no matter how you want to look at it. They determine whether a team simply coexist or truly collaborate. And what is a team if they cannot collaborate together? It's not enough to just coexist. When we talk about team dynamics, we're looking at the behaviors and relationships that define how people work together, how they communicate, how they make decisions, how they handle conflict. All of these things come together. So let's understand team dynamics, because when I was coming up with this, then the question became, what's team dynamics really? What is it about? Team dynamics refers to the unspoken rules, behaviors, interactions, relationships that influence people. It goes as much as how people talk, so team dynamics is so interesting in such a way, like, it's good, right? Team that we can't even take it out, because if we're a group of 5 people, we all come to the table with as who we are. Who I am is different from who Doctor is different from who any other person is. Now, the dynamics come in how I talk. So I could say something, for example, I was having an interaction with someone last week. Interestingly, it was in church. And of course, just permits me to use church. Church is a place where you can find people step on each other's toes the most, because it's a volunteer job. You're not paid to do anything. You're only doing it for the love of God, right? So we're trying to do something, and I'm doing the best I can. And you hear someone say something like, calm down, sis. And at first I took it like, okay, until I now took a second, it rang in my head again, and I was like, why are you telling me to calm down? For me, saying calm down was almost like you were telling me I'm overreacting or I'm not being reasonable. That's the only reason why you tell me to calm down. And I smiled about it and looked away. And the person came later and was like, was I offended with the word calm down? And I'm like, I'm trying to find the word. It's not offended. It's more of, it took me aback. Like, I tried to reevaluate the way I was speaking, the way I was behaving. Did it warrant a statement like, calm down? And she was like, she says calm down when when another person is done speaking, and she's trying to tell the person to give her own chance to speak. And I smiled. So one lesson I learned that day, and okay, she now went further to say that. She says that because growing up, that's the way you get to let someone know you want to be heard. And that day it took me aback, because I was thinking in my head, like, okay, what an interesting way. For some people, you are telling someone, it's like saying in Yoruba that Efarabale. You can't tell someone in Yoruba Farabale, because it's almost like, are you trying to tell me sorry for not speaking Yoruba? Like, what does that mean? You get what I mean? But then that's the thing about team dynamics. Everybody comes with all sorts. We see things differently. We handle things differently. We understand things differently. It's not cast in stone, but like I said, it's that unspoken thing that just, works around a team, right? Every team develops their own unwritten rules. So for example, as I'm talking, you can probably try to relate to this. You will discover that there's something in your office, in your team, not even, in fact, maybe in your house, like a compound, if you live in a compound with other flats, that even though not spoken, even though not written down, they're just things they're just the rule of that place. It's just the way it works. Interestingly, some of these things are healthy, like supporting one another or giving credit, while others can be toxic, like gossip, resistant to change. You find some places, some teams, some organizations, what characterizes that team is you join that team and you just keep hearing whispering, and you're wondering, like, seriously, how can this be? Those are part of the things we're saying. So if we're looking at positive dynamics, so if you're talking about positive team dynamics, it builds trust, openness, respect among team members. Poor dynamics leads to conflict, miscommunication, and what have you, all of that put together. Healthy team dynamics actually helps you. You notice work moves faster with healthy team dynamics. right? Communication is clearer, morale is higher. But when dynamics are off, even talented individuals struggle to deliver. You know, you get to a point where you find out like if the dynamics of the team are not just right, if it's not a good blend, if it's not just flowing well, you just see that people that came into an organization, into a team, and you expect to be like high performers, you just see they begin to drop. I have a situation of someone that I'm currently handling. I remember doing this interview. In fact, one of the reasons why he got the job was because he stood out. His interview was exceptional. His practical presentation interview, he did so well, like we were wowed. He came in, he was doing well. And after about 6 months, in fact, it's almost like, what's going on? We couldn't have gotten it wrong. What happened? What went wrong? For whatever reason, something went wrong along the line. So the question at that time I should actually have been asking myself and helping the management see is that, was it as a result of poor team dynamics? Did he get into a team that had so much toxic stuff that he just got, mixed into it and he just killed who he was, right? But then let's go on. Why now? The question is why it matters. This team dynamics we're talking about. Why exactly does it really matter? How important can it really be? And so that's why we're going to be talking about why it matters. Alignments. It ensures clarity of goals and roles. Having a team that has a positive dynamics, it just keeps us aligned. It won't make sense if there is a team and these people are going this way, the other set of people are going that way. It brings productivity. Productivity arises through better collaboration. If you're working together as a team, you will do better. Transparency builds trust throughout the organization. It actually does. Then accountability, it strengthens relationships and performance. Retention improves retention improves healthy team. Retention improves as healthy teams boosts morale. Now, if you have a very good team or a team that are coexisting in a very, very good way, not just because they need to be in that team, but they are working together at once, it really, really helps. You discover that what really drives team dynamics is communication. You find out that in some organizations, in some teams, you discover that what people complain about the most is there's no open communication. One of the things that kills teams the most is if you're a team member or you belong to an organization, a department, then you hear they said, you now be like, who said? They said. Then the person who heard they said tells another person they said. Then at the end of the day, you discover that people are finding it difficult to be like, okay, do I really belong here? What's going on here? But then if there are good communication patterns where people are honest and respectful, or they do not avoid tough conversations, it helps. When you have a good team dynamics, part of the things you should see are role clarity. Do people even know what is expected of them? You find situations, I've had someone who resigned before, and part of the exiting, I tried to one-on-one have a chat with someone that is leaving. There's one thing I believe, whether you like it or not, people will leave if they need to leave. People will stay if they need to stay. Whether you do something right or wrong, it's just natural. It's just life. But I like to know. And one of the persons I had a conversation with was being honest that one of the problems she had was the fact that today you tell her this is her job description. Tomorrow you tell her that's her job description. Next tomorrow you tell her that's her job description. But every time we are doing a performance review, all you keep telling her is how she's not meeting up to expectations. And it becomes like, what exactly do you want from me? Another thing that really helps team dynamics in all this that I'm saying, why it matters, is where there is where shared values are clear and reinforced. It's really, really critical. It still comes back to communication. In a team, what are our values? You know, the interesting thing about values is that some people have them cast like on the wall or engraved or well stated. Some don't. But whether you like it or not, every team has their values. One way or the other, spoken, unspoken, they exist. But then, if they are clear, it helps all of us know, for example, in our team. Okay, so in an organization where I work, at a point, we used to address each other by whatever name we felt like addressing each other, until we discovered one time, someone had sent a mail to a manager and started the mail with, "Good day, sir. This is to notify you about ABCD, blah, blah, blah." the manager really took offense to it, that saying good day is rude, because the manager was a Yoruba person and he was much older than the other person. He said it's like saying in Yoruba, like, good, in a very funny way. And it was quite interesting because good day is just telling you good day. Because of that, we now had to go to, okay, you know what? In the organization, we start using initials. Everybody is referred to by their initials, from the highest person to the smallest person. So my name is Sheifumi Shoyemi. I'm referred to as SFS. And that way we realize now we don't have it written out somewhere to say that if you join Law Pavilion, you must be referred to by initials, but it's a value that is already known. Once you call me, your initials are given to you, and you know that's how it works. So let's go on to this team dynamics. In coming up with team dynamics and understanding team dynamics, I discovered that there's a life cycle of team dynamics, and that was the model, or it was Tuckman's model. Apparently, Tuckman had come up with a model of team dynamics because, you know, Tuckman, in fact, his model is one of the most widely used frameworks for understanding how teams evolve, actually. So it was introduced by Bruce Tuckman in 1965 and later expanded. He was introduced with only four stages of the team dynamics, but then it was later expanded into 5, right? And each stage represents a distinct phase in a team's growth. So if you're starting a team today, you started a team yesterday, you started a team 20 years ago, you're starting a team tomorrow. From this model, it is discovered that every team has different phases. Let's put it like this. It's like when we were studying maybe biology, something like that, and we're learning about the phases of growth of children. So, you know, you have a child who is born as a this, they become toddlers, they become infants, they become teenagers. So that's how a team evolves. So let's look at the team, how teams evolve. So there's one we call the forming. That's the forming. So the forming means that it's where team members, the forming is the beginning stage of any team. Like I said, every team goes through each of these stages. Part of the things we're trying to do today is to understand what are the various stages a team could be in. If we understand those stages of the team, then it better helps us as HR to understand how to relate with these teams, how to handle this team. Knowing the phase the team is in helps us understand how to handle that team per time. So when we are talking about forming stage is the beginning. This is the stage where members are polite, they are courteous, they are trying to understand their place. The leader's role here is to help set direction, clarify goals, and define roles. So for example, let's take for example, you have a new department in an organization and they are just coming together. This is where, you know, those beginning stage, let's even liken it onto regular friendships in regular everyday. It's the stage where everybody, hello, my name is Sheifumi. And the person, hello, my name is this. Okay, I'm this. Okay, I'm that. That's when everybody is still being very, very polite. We're all just getting to know each other. But then as leaders, as HR, this is where we help set the direction. This is where we help people know, all right, this is the way we are going. This is what is required. This is the goal. This is what is to be achieved. Then we move on to the storming phase. At the storming phase, here brings the storming phase now begins to bring out tension, conflict, as personalities clash, expectations differ. This is, you know, it's where, you know, after we've exceeded, permits me to be as simple and as realistic as possible. So we are past the stage of the hello, hi, how are you doing? You know, there's a stage where you're like, I don't understand what's going on here. Or you are telling someone this way it should be. Who are you to tell us this is how it should be done? Who even made you the leader of the team? Or you are saying, no, where I come from, this is how it is, that is how it is. Or you're working on a project together and you're suggesting, okay, or that's when you are realizing someone doesn't even know how to address another person when it comes to this. Or a perfect example that comes to mind, you are in a team that is mixed with millennials and Gen Zs, right? And it's almost like Gen Z is like, you can look up and tell someone like, who is way, of course, way much older and call the person by name and be like, or come into the office, hello, Shay. Sorry, excuse me. And the other person is looking like, what's going on here? You know, that's kind of thing. But then at this stage, as HR, as leaders, this is where we must encourage open communication, mediate conflicts, because it helps us promote trust. So this is a stage where for each of these teams, once we understand the stage, the phase they are in, we can now understand how to handle them better. So this is time where we are asking, letting them know, okay, you're not right, you're not wrong, you're not wrong, you're right, you're right. Maybe this person sees it from here, this person sees it from here. Then we go to the norming stage. This is where the dust settles. You know, after we've done all the goes, and it's almost like, you know, in teams, you begin to discover like, this person doesn't take nonsense, or no, this person is not down for, when we've all started knowing each other, I'm like, okay. So at the norming stage, members now begin to understand each other better. They understand each other's strengths. They establish team norms, collaborate effectively. You know, at this point, that's when you will know that, for example, Mr. A doesn't like to be, you know, now, an interesting thing, maybe in a team, when you first started, everybody thought they just joke around and tell Mr. A, see his baggy shorts, you could tease him. That's when you begin to realize, no, Mr. A doesn't like jokes. Some people don't like jokes. That's when you begin to understand each other. That's when you begin to understand, like, some people just, when they leave their workstation, they want to come back and meet their stuff at their workstation. Not that. And there are some people that don't mind. They come to work, they can go to someone's workstation and pick someone's cup and just go drink water. And it's almost like, I just borrowed it, I didn't take it away. I only just use it to drink water right here. But here, this is where we begin to know each other. So what's our job here? Our job now is to begin to step back, providing more coaching than direction. Now we know they know each other. Now we know they've had, you know, a lot of conflict. Now we know they are getting to understand and settle in. So we begin to help them understand how to continue to relate with one another. Then we go to performing. Performing is the ideal stage, right? You know, after going through those initial phases, performing is where the team is self-sufficient. They are motivated, they are productive. You know, now they understand, they understand each other, they know how to work together. Now, this is where we begin to help them understand this. Then we help them, we focus on removing barriers and supporting personal development. So this is where we begin to let the team know, fine, you guys are already here, you already know each other, but this is where you begin to build, you begin to get better, you begin to, you know, improve yourself, you begin to learn more, so that the team is better empowered, you know, the team is growing. Then finally, which was the fifth stage that I said was added later, is the adjourning. You know, at the adjourning stage, of course, where team begins to complete their mission. You know, for everything, there are times when you get to the peak of it and you've done, you know, in every department, in every team, there's always a task at hand. There's always something you are doing. There are times when there are peak moments of certain projects. There are times when, you know, they begin to drop before you pick up another one. This is where, you know, you begin to feel like, ooh, we did this, we achieved this, we accomplished this. So this is where we help them celebrate achievements. We acknowledge contributions. Everybody was a part of it. It couldn't have been done by one person. We all did it together. We help members transition smoothly into, you know, whatever they are doing at that time, right? So now let's go on. Key elements of strong team dynamics. So in coming up with this, I now realize, you know what, after saying all these things about team dynamics, so how do we know if a team, you know, be able to identify this team has, you know, strong team dynamics, or they have a toxic team dynamics, or they are doing well, they are not doing well? So that was why I came up with this. Key elements of strong team dynamics. So trust and psychological safety. Yeah, it's the foundation of effective teamwork. I know there was a time in my organization, we had taken a course at Stanford, a couple of managers. And by the time we were done, one of the things we had learned was that psychological safety is actually important in any organization, in any team, anywhere at all. Because psychological safety actually goes a long way to determine how people actually behave in that organization. It's only in an organization where there's psychological safety that people can actually open up and be themselves. They are free to be themselves. And what's an organization if people are consumed with fear, or they can't speak up, they are not sure if they are heard? They are not sure if they matter. They don't know what to say. They don't know what not to say. They don't know when to speak up. They don't know when to keep quiet. So psychological safety is important. When people feel safe to share ideas or admit mistakes without fear, creativity and learning flourish. So if, for example, I'm in a team where I'm too afraid to make a mistake that I don't even give anything a try. So that's when you discover people just stand back and, they did not send me, oh, I only attend to what I'm sent. Nobody told me, oh, I don't want to get into trouble. No, that's not good enough. So if you want to know a team that has strong team dynamics, those are things you should look out for. So how to build trust and psychological safety in a team. Be transparent and maintain integrity. So all I'm trying to do today is help us as HR understand team dynamics and behavior and the role we have to play in it. Because come to think of it, we are the ones that, we have more like an oversight, of these teams. Most of our job is to help them do well, work better, understand better, and then the bottom line, help the organization also get better, because where team dynamics are good, at the end of the day, it's good profit to the organization. Trust me. We don't want to be in an organization where all we are settling is conflicts. Any project they are working on, I work in a legal tech. If I'm having a team that they are not aligning or they are not doing well, it's a problem for me, because project that should take us 1 month, we can go on it 2 months, 3 months, because all you keep hearing Deb say, she did not tell me, he did not tell me, I did not understand, you did not understand, So I'm also trying to help us see as HR, what role do we have to play? So to build trust, let's help encourage a culture where there's transparency and integrity. It's really very important. Then acknowledge contributions regularly. One of the things that really kill people is when they feel they are putting in so much and doing so much, but nobody is seeing, or nobody is respecting what they are bringing to the table. No matter how small, I always like to say something to my team. No matter how small, each person has a value they are bringing to the table. Let's not take it for granted at all. So now, next, clear roles and responsibility. When everyone knows what they are responsible for, there's less confusion and more accountability. That's the truth. Clear rules. And some of the things I say, when I was coming up with this, I was also thinking, I think I still fall short in a lot of it. Myself and my team, we still fall short in a lot of it, because that's when you will see some people are not sure what they should be doing. That's when you will have problem of someone will say, I was the one that was supposed to, this person did, or you will see people thinking that job belongs to someone else. Why didn't you do that? I didn't do it because I assumed it was Shei's job. Shei, why didn't you do it? I didn't do it because it's not my job. Then you discover it's an orphan. Nobody owns it. Or when you have so many people thinking they all do the same thing, you now discover people feeling like, I'm the owner, this person is overstepping, and all of that. So in this case, how can we help? How can we help define rules? Communicate individual strengths and expertise. You are in a team. For example, you are in a team. So let me be very practical. Let me give a practical example. So in my team, I have team leads. I have 2 core team leads, and one of them is supposed to be handling operations. One of them is supposed to be handling HR related matters. And at a point, I discovered there's a problem here. There's no sync. You guys are, in fact, they were giving me too much headache. So I have a job where I'm constantly having headache because there's just always fire to keep. And I'm like, what's going on between the two of it? And the one running HR said, I didn't want it to look like I'm overstepping. The one running operation, I didn't want to listen, so it's not look like I'm putting my nose in the operation guy's zone. Operation guy, what's going on here? The HR person is one in Lagos. Since she's in Lagos and we're all in the same department, I thought she would have. Until I had to come to let them realize, you run and do oversee HR related issues. You oversee operations related issues. It's not, we're still HR and operations department. It just means that you guys have one strength more than the other in one or this. It doesn't mean we're not doing it all together. You just need to understand where your strength lies. It doesn't mean we can't support each other. It doesn't mean we can't help each other. It's important we let the team know. If not, everybody just assumes, which is a problem. Then align roles with team objectives. It's very, very important. Then adjust roles as projects evolve. So I was using an example of my team. At a point, we discovered we can't separate operations and HR because of the structure of our organization runs. So we are doing it. I do HR and operations. You guys are doing HR and operations. All we are saying is a particular person who has strengths in a particular area can run points on that, and the rest of us work with that person to support that person. So next is effective communication. It's interesting that communication is always at the heart of something. So we did a test. I was talking about when we took a course in Stanford and psychological safety kept reoccurring. So we decided there was this thing we had to run, more like a test, more like a survey. We had a survey where the management wanted to measure the psychological safety in the organization. And we did a survey to be able to see. And it was quite interesting to discover that there were lots of things we weren't seeing as management. Actually, we weren't. Until we're like, okay. And I tried to really sit down to really think deep. And I discovered communication kept reoccurring. And why is communication important? And some of the things that brought this communication wasn't big deal. So we assume, like, for example, as management, we decide we're having, let me use, for example, we want to have a blue day tomorrow, right? And we discuss it. And we expect, okay, managers would have communicated it to team members. You discover that by the time managers are communicating, they might just say, management said we should have a blue day. Then the people that hear it tells the next person that wasn't at the place where the manager communicated. Our manager said, management said we should have a blue day. Now it begins to go down. The communication is being watered down. Then you find out people now, at the end of the day, it's not well. Then it's like some that didn't even hear. Also, managers even actually forget to notify their team. Then it becomes, so the company just does things. They don't even care how we feel. They don't even tell us until the day. Communication goes a very, very long way. Communication, a team that communicates well avoids misunderstanding and stay aligned. It's really important. Sometimes it's a little difficult, right? But then, you know, at the act of it, most of this communication comes back to HR. HR communicates. HR communicates. HR communicates. Communication is important. So how can we improve communication? Encourage open dialogue. So the management said we should have a blue day, right? HR, let's also try to re-emphasize some of this communication. If you have any questions, if you need to clarify further, if you need to ask, you know, one or two, please feel free. We operate an open door policy. And you might see people who walk up to you to ask, why did management say we should have a blue day? Let's not be quick to say, management said. So I'm someone that likes to tell you the why. We are having a blue day because I believe if you understand why, what we are trying to achieve, it will help you fit better into it. Also, how to improve communication, streamline communication using tools. I try to encourage my team, especially if we've had back and forth on situation, on any matter or on certain things. I tell them, I'm not doing verbal. Can you please send an email? Or please, in fact, if it has gotten to a level, I tell them WhatsApp communication doesn't cut it anymore. Please do a proper email and copy stakeholders. Where situations come up, we can always call it back. Using tools, it depends on what you use in your organization. Some people use WhatsApp, some people use Slack, some people use emails, some people use different applications, whatever works for you. But have a tool for communication. It's better. It helps you align. Then be clear and respectful. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of one thing I like to say, or I try to do, any communication I'm doing that is capable of more than one interpretation, then I've not communicated. It's too ambiguous. So we're having a blue day tomorrow. We are having a blue day tomorrow, meaning everybody is expected to wear anything with a touch of blue tomorrow. Touch of blue means it could be a tie, it could be a scarf. But your communication must be clear, because I could be saying something, the other person is hearing something else. And we discover that most of the things that causes trouble in teams is just communication. We just heard something else, or the person said something and we assumed it was something else. So going on, shared goals and vision. Shared goals give direction and unity. Let's always be on the same page. Like, let's have a good understanding. Let's try to reiterate it. Let's try to speak it. Let's try to have, if we need to write it, sorry, permit me to use the Bible again. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain that they may run, those who run with it, right? Make it as clear as possible. While constructive conflict resolution ensures differences leads to solution, not division. Just make it clear, make it plain. And how can we help with this? Establish clear objectives and involve the team in goal setting for ownership. I discovered that ownership is important. If you want the team to succeed, there should be ownership. Let them feel like they have the value they are bringing. There's something about them that is actually making that team work. Let them own it. Let them feel like it belongs to them. You will discover the drive is different. Then regularly check progress and adjust milestones. Where are we? What are we doing? How far have we gone? Let's understand. It's not, we decided we wanted to finish 30th October, but with this, it might not work. Why don't we readjust? Why don't we? There's nothing wrong with, reviewing. Let's sit down and have a good review. It's important. Constructive conflict resolution is also there. Like, allow teams to discuss differences openly. See, the reality is you can't have a team without conflict. You can't have even husband and wife without conflict, siblings without conflict. It's normal. It only becomes a problem when we don't address it or discuss it openly. Then we try to do it, then it becomes a major concern. But where conflict arises, let's just discuss them. Let's find solutions. Let's not dwell on, he did this, I did that, we did that, we did that. Let's find solutions. So how do we do this? Focus on the issue, not the person. When something is being addressed, I try to encourage, like, I'm not against you. I have nothing against you. It's the situation I'm looking at. I'm not looking at you. So if you're my friend, we work together. We're still very good friends. But when something comes up on the job, I'll address what is on ground. I try to encourage people, please permit me. It's not against your person. Don't take it personal against you. It's the issue. Even if it was not Sheyi that is being addressed right now, if it was Mr. Bola that did the same thing, the issue will be addressed. So it's not against Sheyi, it's against the issue. Then encourage compromise and seek win-win solutions. It's very important. So if, for example, I'm a kind of person that in a team, I don't like to be yelled at. Meanwhile, I have a team lead that likes to yell. So where does it come in here? Meanwhile, maybe the team lead likes to yell because the team lead is probably smallish and has a very tiny voice. So if the team lead is not yelling, you probably aren't even paying attention. Meanwhile, me, I don't like to be yelled at because maybe every time they yell on me, it makes me feel belittled. So we need to find a way. Team lead, can you try not to yell, but you could make your voice firm? And team member, could you understand? Let's find how it works for everybody. Then accountability. Excuse me. Accountability keeps keeps performance high and adaptable. So accountability helps us, foster a culture where everybody is committed to something. Accountability. I try to encourage my team that I have what we do, like, we report everything we are doing together. What I'm working on, I report it to them. What they are working on, I expect them to report it to me. And I keep telling them, if for any reason you discover I'm the one doing something not right, tell me. Don't assume. If I write a letter, read it again. Don't assume because she's the HOD, she wrote it, it should be good. I want to be held accountable. It's important. Key action, set expectations for individual and team performance. Provide constructive feedback and collectively learn from failures. You did this wrong. Though I'm someone that if I'm in the heat of pressure and there's something you've done so wrong and it's really, really is something that is burning on the fire, I'll just be asking you to think it. Does it make sense? I try sometimes to tone it down, like, don't just act the way it is burning inside of you, but let's provide constructive feedback. The only thing is sometimes you feel like, sometimes I'll be like, you did it, don't you know? And I'm like, okay, so provide constructive feedback. So also continued adaptability and flexibility is also important. Teams will adapt quickly to rapid changing business. How do we help? Promote a growth mindset and resilience. Whenever we want to take up a task and I feel my team, so I head 2 departments in my organization. The one that is responsible for the contents work. Whenever I want to do something, a project, and it looks like, how do we do it? I tell them capacity building. Take it as capacity building. Just see it like you have the ability to do more. This is making you, stretching you out of your comfort zone to do more. Be willing to adjust strategy and share innovative solutions. I'm someone like, I want to believe there is a better way to do everything that is being done. So if I do something today, tomorrow I want to look for a better way to do it. I believe it exists. Even if I don't get it right now, it doesn't stop my mind from still thinking, how can we do it? And I like to see strategies. Whenever I'm doing a strategy, if I see it's not working, I tell my team, let's go back. Something about this thing is not working. Let's find another way around it. That's another good way. Strong leadership. This is very, very important. Very, very important. Having a strong leadership is it's necessary for any team to do well. It's very, very necessary. In fact, I don't want to overemphasize that. Regular feedbacks, constructive feedback is necessary, and feedback is two-way. You can give to those up, you can give to those on your level, you can give to those below you. It's necessary. It can be done nicely in love, in team spirit and all of that. So encourage two-way feedback at all levels. So one thing we normally do is we do this 360-degree feedback every year, end of the year, where we are doing performance appraisal, so that even team members get to evaluate their managers. It's very important. We all don't know it all. So that's why this feedback is important. Recognize strengths and areas for improvements. It's necessary. You see your team members, you see a team, try to understand the team. So I was at a conference last 2 months ago, and looking through the conference, and every day at the conference, I was trying to study everybody, understanding it was a team of different people coming together for that particular conference. I tried to look, where's this person strong? Where's this person weak? What's going on with this person? How can we support this person? How can we help this person get better? And all of that. Then finally, healthy organization. It's important. The core principles: foster transparency and inclusion, maintain fairness and respect, recognize contributions, celebrate wins. No matter how little, please don't forget, celebrate wins. Some people leave certain organizations because they feel nobody sees them and value what they are doing. It's important. So I now went on to check, like, what are the different types of team dynamics? There are different teams. How does this thing really work? So we have the functional team. So the functional team are the traditional setup, right? Where everyone works within the same area of expertise. They are sufficient, but work in silos. So picture, permits me, most of the examples I'm using is more of tech related. So example is developers working, quality assurance team, product managers focused on the product. So they're working on this product, and all these people come together to make this product come out. So those are functional teams. They are together because of what they do. It's because of the function of what they do together. Then we have the cross-functional team. This brings people together from different units to solve complex problems. They are dynamic and creative, but need careful collaboration. So example is, we're about to launch a product, right? And you're like, okay, for this product launch, we don't just need the tech people. The tech people can't do it alone. We need the market team to tell us the go-to-market. Also, for the marketing team, what's going to be the go-to-market strategy? How do we want to go about it? How is it going to be? We need the sales team to tell us what are the markets we want to penetrate. What's our target audience? What's share? How much of the market are we looking to capture? All of that coming together. We have the self-managed team. You see, for the self-managed team, the self-managed team are empowered groups that take ownership for their work. They thrive in culture that value autonomy and accountability. So it's like a department in the team, right? So I'm saying maybe a sales team in an organization, a product team in an organization. This is their department. This is who they are. That is what they run, right? Then we have the tax-based team. The tax-based team are agile and short-lived. So we have a project coming up, and we're putting together a team to work on this. Or we have a seminar coming up. We want a committee to handle this. It's almost like just a committee, a task force that is assembled, for a particular purpose. And after that, everybody just goes their separate ways. They're probably disband. Then I have something I tried. There are other forms of teams that we can have, and I tag this the adaptive and relationship-oriented, dynamics. So we have virtual teams. Virtual teams are teams that organizations where we have the hybrid, right, work system in that organization. For this kind of teams, they need clear processes, frequent check-ins, right, inclusive communication to stay cohesive. This hybrid and work from home thing has gotten to a point where, may God help us right now. I had a situation of someone that all these work from home people, where if we call any meeting, so in our organization, we do the hybrid, but there are times when we call general staff meeting where everybody needs to come in physically. You find this person always looking for a reason not to be around, until it was discovered that the person actually got a job in another organization. I was like, sorry. So the person was just using us to pass time, doing nothing. So for all these kind of things, handling them is completely different, because I don't know how other HR do it, having to keep tabs and be sure they are working in this work from home. May God help us. Let's not open that one. It is well. Then we have the leadership-led teams. This one is directed by a clear leader. Leadership-led teams work best where structure and accountability are key. However, the leader should encourage input and ownership to avoid dependency. So this is where we have like a team lead leading a team. We have the sales team being run by the team lead. The team lead is the one, that handles the team. The team, reports back maybe to the manager, or the manager runs the team, reports back, right, to the management. Then we have the social teams. Teams are interesting. Like I said, it's not just limited to our workplace. Even in church, even in our book club, even in our gym, even in, all of that. This may not have formal work goals. They are vital for culture and engagement. So all these teams we just join to strengthen bonds, build relationship, network, all those kind of teams to exist. So now, red flags. I tag this thing red flags. Red flags in the sense that spotting poor team dynamics, right, early is critical. It's very, very critical. Sometimes it really hurts me when it takes me too long to discover that a team is already collapsing or a team is not surviving and I just didn't see it. Especially maybe you just discover a department and you look back and you're like, at what point did we get to this point? How did we get here? And that's why I tagged it red flags, because recognizing poor team dynamics is important. Why is it important? It helps us watch, when we watch for this critical sign, it helps us know how to take action. It helps us know what to do. In an organization, for example, if you have up to 10, 11 departments, right, some will be doing very well, but it's not all departments that are doing very well at the same time. So knowing the ones that are not doing so well helps you also know which ones you should pay attention to. Know when the whole thing has crumbled. You find a situation in that department, in fact, things have gotten bad, so bad that you'll be wondering where to start from. And that's why I tagged this one's red flags. So let's look at them. So we have the groupthink. The groupthink and poor leadership often hide beneath the surface, but they quietly erode trust and engagement. You find some departments where I had to deal with a situation and it's almost like, oh my God, how did we get here? You will just, in fact, in such teams, you will just find out like people are either unhappy, they are dissatisfied, they are grumbling, in fact, working is more like heartache to them and they just can't speak up. And that's why as HR, we should also look out for some of these signs. In teams like this, what you will see is that the team, they avoid to challenge the status quo. So it's just kind of team. I don't know if you've had a situation where you will have people that will say, anything they say, that's what they say. what's my own? No, it's a concern. It's a very, very big concern because such people will not say anything. They will rather be quiet. And who knows how much they could have contributed. So poor leadership, lack of direction, accountability causes confusion and low morale. Team members feel uncertain about expectations and priorities. Where the leadership is poor, it doesn't just reflect on the team, it reflects on the entire organization. So these are things where you see that people are complaining of bad leadership. Please don't take it for granted. Look into it. Lack of trust. When you find out that people hold back ideas, they don't want to talk. You are interestingly, you will be in settings. You will just hear people. You will be saying, let us not talk. Oh, please look out for them. Their concerns. We have frequent conflicts where you find out that there's always tension. You understand? The energy on the job is no more there. Those are things we should look out for. Unequal participation. You find out the workload that some members are overwhelmed, while some it's almost like, what are they doing? We should look out. We need to look into it. We could actually discuss with the managers, or we could discuss with the management, like, what's going on with this team? Can we help you? What can we do? Try to find a way to, intervene. Then when there's excessive control in a team, micromanaging. Yes, I know we need to manage people. Managers need to manage people. Team leads need to manage people. But when you are micromanaging a team, it calls for concern because the team members actually also have initiative. So they should be able to use some initiative to do some things. Blocking behaviors, dominating or overly critical voices, silence others and hinder progress. Like, in fact, when you have some behaviors that their own I'm not saying we should shut people up or all that, but then when some people are just, we need to look into it, please. So here is one thing I want us to look at. So to manage the dysfunctional behaviors, after highlighting everything, it's not enough to just highlight and it ends there. How do we manage it? Because to manage a dynamic, you first need a diagnostic tool, and that's why this Patrick's model, comes into play. It provides it helps us to understand why dysfunction takes roots. It is hierarchy, meaning if the base is weak, everything above it crumbles. The root of dysfunction is absence of trust. So let's put it like this. This is how it works. So the beginning is this lower guy that I have, absence of trust. If this guy doesn't exist, all these other things are going down with it. So we have the roots, which is absence of trust, fear of vulnerability, openness among team members. So where there's this consistent fear, you don't want to talk because if you talk, they will hold it against you. Some people are scared of talking because you feel, if I say it now, if that thing doesn't work, they will now say it was Sheyi that said. I do that a lot. So sometimes my team members are like, they don't want to say anything because if it doesn't work, they won't hear the end of it. I'm like, you to bring good idea now. Yeah, it's not so good. Absence of trust. Let people sometimes, let people be vulnerable. It happens. Just let them be vulnerable. Let them be open. It's just okay. Now, I'm not saying we should allow it to the point where it doesn't make sense. Then we also have that this isn't just about integrity, it's about vulnerability. Can team members admit mistakes? Can they ask for help? When a team member makes a mistake and they come to tell you, I made a mistake, do we eat them up? Do we just hold it over their head like, a death sentence, right? If can they ask us like, I need help, I can't sort this, I can't work on this, I can't do this? Are they free to talk to us? If not, they develop a fear of conflict. If there's absence of trust, the next thing that comes up is the fear of conflict. It just comes. Choosing artificial harmony over productive debate, right? Because instead of like talking about it, you just like, let's just leave it like that. Then if that is absent, then there's lack of commitment. If there's absence of trust, there's fear of conflict, then there's lack of commitment because issues aren't truly resolved. You just see that things come up and you will think everything is going well. It's not. People are just keeping it inside of them and just not talking about it or not raising it, which is really, really not good. If people aren't committed, then they can't be held accountable. A person who is not committed cannot be held accountable for anything. You will see they just do it to, clock the clock every day. Come in, go, come in, go, come in, go, come in, go, come in, go. They are disengaged. They are not just bothered about things. And finally, if they are not focused on protecting their own image or status, they show inattention. If they show inattention to results, the business suffers. That's the truth. If this foundation is bad, every other thing cannot be built on top of it. It's just the problem. So as HR, our goal is to build that base of trust. From time to time, let's interact with teams. Interestingly, HR, I think it's gone beyond, we just have an office where we sit in. It's when they send the mails or when they reach out to us. We can do check-ins. We can observe from afar, really. And when we notice things, we can, raise them politely with the managers. Ask the manager if they need help, if they need you to look into it. You can decide to just have, as HRBP, have a meeting with the team, discuss with them, get to know them better, get to understand them better. It's good. It works. It's necessary, right? Each level builds upon the foundation below it. Teams must address trust issues before they can engage in healthy conflict, commit to decisions, hold each other accountable, and focus on collective results. So that's why I came to the part of the HR leader's role in managing team behavior. I've been talking about HR, we play a role, we play a role, we play a role. So let's really look at the role we play. As HR leaders, right? We shape culture through how we act. That's the truth. We actually help the culture of the organization, like we actually carry it, and we shape the culture through how we act. So it's not good enough as HR leaders. We say lateness is not tolerated. Then as HR, because we are the ones looking out for the lateness, we feel it's okay to work in at any time. So I'm a kind of person that there's break time. You won't see me using outside my break time. You won't. You will hardly find me. You will not find me going late to work. It's rare. If I'm late to work, then there must be something going on. It has become so bad, like if I'm going to be late, because I'm the head of HR, doesn't mean I just take it for granted. Because if people are going to be late, what we tell them is send in a message and please let us know or take permission. So if I'm going to be late, I hold myself accountable to my team members. I send my team members a message. Good morning. I apologize. I'm running late today because an emergency came up at home, which is good. So you're all right. So let's model what we talk. Let's demonstrate, that's why I put it there, model emotional intelligence, demonstrate self-awareness, empathy, social skills in every interaction. Sometimes people don't agree with it. I'm an introvert in every way. I'm one of those persons that when I'm relating, when I'm talking like she definitely can't be an introvert. She's smiling, she's flowing. I'm one of those persons that I can do it because it's my job, but I can't wait to get home and run into my shell. I just feel like, oh my God, I'm one of those persons. But then these social interactions are nice. So for everybody in the organization, if you work in the organization, I try to save your number. I try to know you by first name. I try to know at least one thing about you, right? Your emotional regulation sets the tone for the entire organization. So someone once said one time that as HR, as human as we are, and we also can have bad days and all that. Most times when we come, all eyes are on us. So I can't just walk in and feel like I'm having some woman issue on anybody. Please, I'm having my mood swing and all of that. Through it, you just, hello, good morning. How are you doing? How's your baby? Oh, how's your husband? Oh, how was your weekend? All of that. Set clear expectations, establish explicit behavior standards, and communicate protocol. This is the way it should be done. This is how it should be done. Let it be known. Don't let people think. Don't let them assume. State things very clearly. Ambiguity breeds dysfunction. I'm one of those persons that don't like when someone tries to talk to me and you are beating around the bush, and I'm always like, I don't get it. Go straight to the point. Are you trying to say it? You will know that I don't like ambiguity at all. Let's be clear on it, because I believe when you are clear on certain things, then we can hold each other accountable to it. It is clear we do not wear jeans to work, right? So when I see you wearing jeans, it is clear, not that I will just leave it open. business, casual, or formal. You hear an interpretation from people that if standards are not set clear. Encourage open communication. I can't oversay that. I create the space where it creates a space for open, honest conversations and feedbacks. So interestingly, I try to also ask one or two of my team members, if you want to say something to me, say it. Just that sometimes it depends on the period they say it. If it's a period where everything is crumbling and my head is on fire, I might just, but then if you tell me, I'm like, okay, I'll see what I'll do about it. Let's take feedback. Balance discipline and motivation. Address problematic behavior swiftly. Don't let it linger for long. Those are things that affect teams. Just address it straight up. Like I like to play a lot. I play a lot, but I like to be firm. There are certain things that are non-negotiable. This behavior is unacceptable. It cannot be tolerated. I'm not being rude. I'm just telling you very firmly, it doesn't work here. Kindly put it in check. It's important you do. So we do not have to revisit this with disciplinary measures. Very clear, right? Promote inclusion and safety. Ensure every team member feels valued. I've been saying that since. Everybody brings a value to the table. To the driver, if you see me playing with my office driver, you would think it's my family member. However, when it's time for work, I still try to keep the balance. So, practical strategies for managing team dynamics. I'm just going to run through it. Conduct behavioral analysis. From time to time, you might want to do that. You can use any tool. Facilitate team building and conflict resolution. Is also focus on problem solving, communication, not just, game. Include behavioral metrics like anyone you can work on. Then coaching, one-on-one coaching is also good. Sometimes you might need to provide support for certain people, or everybody doesn't go at the same pace. And like I said, some people have some character, they just might not know it. It might just be who they are. Now, does that excuse bad behavior? No, it doesn't. It just means letting them, it's when you've now consistently tried to help them, and they still want to sit in that bad behavior. That's when you take it to the other level and change it for them. I'm sure you get what I mean. Then data, you can use data to surveys. Sometimes we do all these surveys. When we do surveys, let's not just keep them. Let's look at them, let's analyze them, let's hear what the surveys are saying. Let's hear what the people do, it anonymous surveys and things like that, so that you can get candid feedback. So I've been talking for, let's see, an hour. So let's do something interesting, just to make it a bit interesting. Looking at team dynamics, this thing, I tried to put up 3 scenarios. I'm already wrapping up. This is about the end of it. So 3 scenarios, let's do it like this. The challenge is some of your top performers disagree publicly during a team meeting, creating visible tension and making other team members uncomfortable. Their conflict is affecting team morale and productivity. The disagreement stems from different approaches to a critical project, right? So you see, it's not like one person is wrong, one person is right. They just have different approaches. And both individuals feel strongly about their perspective. Other team members are starting to take side. The question to us as HR is, what do we do? If you want to help me answer, you can just unmute and answer. Though I try to come up with what I think, but then, like I said, we are all learning, right? So what should we do? Who wants to help us? Let's see. Who wants to help us? Anybody? How do you think we should handle that? Any volunteer that wants to help? Nobody wants to help me. You can help. How do you think we should handle such a situation? Okay, if you were the one in this case, how would you handle it? Nobody's helping me. Because I've been talking a lot, right? Please, Priya, you can go ahead and help me. I can see your hand raised. You can go ahead.
All right. Okay, all right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the insightful section. Okay, the way I'll look at it, is for us to ensure to have a one-on-one engagement with these two team lead, and that would not be during the meeting. Maybe probably we just have a one-on-one section to really know what is the root cause, areas where they're having disparity in thoughts in alignment to the set deliverables that we want to achieve. So hearing them independently will give an insight of what the issue they are not aligning with. Thereafter, I will then call the two parties together and probably in the open, where to, now is not the general house, is not the HR trying to have a clue of what, as an independent person, of what the issue is. I think at that point in time, they'll be able to open up on areas that probably they are not aligning with. And thereafter, identifying the root cause of the issue will now make us to see, if the other party is probably criticizing constructively, not because of having a selfish interest or there, but maybe it's just for them to be able to meet up. So at that point in time, we'll now advise as the HR to say, we are all working towards a particular goal. These are areas we need to tackle it. So, and we don't want a situation whereby you go back to your team and start the issue afresh, because then we're going to have a more divided house. And at the end of it, when the house is divided, we'll find out that the set goals, the deliverables we will not be able to achieve it. So addressing that and making sure that that issue is addressed there and does not linger to them transferring whatever differences they have to their departmental team. I think that will make so when that is strictly spoken about and the parties involved are allowed to open up and engage, I think we'll solve it there and there, and there'll be a way forward on how best. But if you don't do that, call them to, if you do it in an open, they may still want to feel that, people have ego now. I won't want to succumb for them. But when you do it in a closure, whereby you make them one-on-one, then you later now, you already identify what is causing the tension among the team. Then that will now give you an insight of when you now bring them as a team to now ensure that they align with where we're going to. And making sure to tell them, please don't go back home or go back to your team and start giving room for them to start siding each other. If not, would how will I call it? Will not focus on what we want to do. I think that's the way I will handle it from my own perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priya. Absolutely. In fact, with the way Priya said she will handle it, there's no need sharing mine anymore because she just said exactly what I would have said. So, like she said, which is very important, address privately first. Meet each individual separately to understand their perspective and cool emotions before bringing them together. If you want to do it together, it might not work. So the first thing is address privately. Then, like she said, let's hear both sides. So you said you have this, you said you have this. Like they just have different approaches, right? You say someone fill a bucket of water, you tell them, this is a bucket of water, you feel. Okay, in fact, what readily comes to mind? You watch these games on social media where, what do they call these games that you see maybe they line up balloons now and the goal is to burst all the balloons. You will see someone will start from the end. Another person will decide to start from the front. The question is, are they both trying to burst the balloon? Whichever approach will now turn out to be the best, well, is left to them. Refocus on shared goals, right? So direct the conversation towards the common objective, because at the end of the day, it's the team success. Being who is right, who is wrong, is me that is you that is, it's not what the team is looking at. So let's not forget that. Then reinforce mutual respect. Let everybody know that for future disagreements, let's value what each person brings to the table. And you know, this kind of conflict, at the end of the day, they both might actually be right. In fact, if we do a fusion of both ideas, it might even be a game changer. It's just one person calming down to listen to the other. So thank you so much for praying for that, for explaining it so well. So the key learning is high performance. The key thing in this is that if you notice, those who are high performers, especially those who do very well in an organization, right, they normally have strong opinions. And they always believe that their opinions are right. That's the truth. Like they're very convinced about their opinion. So what do? Channel this passion productively by creating structured forums for healthy debates while maintaining team cohesion. So sometimes, for something, it depends on the project you're working on. You can just tell details, especially if you know you have very strong performance or very strong-willed people. Just let it be like we have. Tomorrow is going to be brainstorming session on the new products we are working on, right? And everybody just gets to come and talk. Then right there on the table, we can now discuss and come up with a way around it for future things. So I tried to come up with another scenario. So in this scenario, the challenge is a previously engaged team member. This one, we find it happen so often. A previously engaged team member has become withdrawn and less participative following a recent policy change. It might not necessarily be a recent policy change. It might be a recent, in fact, a formerly engaged person might become less engaged because a promotion happened and someone who the person considers not to be up to the person gets a promotion while the person did not get a promotion. It could be that small. Their performance is declining and they seem disconnected from team activities. The change affected their role responsibility as they appear frustrated or confused about their new position within the team. In fact, within the team structure. So in a situation like this, what do we do? Like I said, I'm already wrapping up. This is just more like a discussion part and we're done. So what do you think we do? Does anybody want to advise on how to go about? And that happens a lot. Team members getting disinterested, particularly if there's someone that, the person used to be on fire. The person used to be, the person who had so much passion, so much energy. Suddenly the person you're talking and the person is so quiet, or the person is or the person is whatever. So do we have anyone that wants to help me? What should we do? Or what would you do in such a situation? Does anybody want to help? Anybody? Anyone? Oh, Priya wants to help me. Yeah, Priya is my friend tonight. Priya, thank you. You can go ahead.
All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. And if I have an engaged team member who recently maybe dropped in terms of performance or decline in his or her key deliverables, like I normally say it gives me a clue that I need to work on my engagement strategy. Because probably the team engagement is not frequently done. Because if it's frequently done, I was seeing in my dashboard that something is happening from the HR perspective. So in terms of survey, I'm running frequent survey to have a clue on what each team members, in terms of the aspiration and some of their set deliverables, maybe monthly or biannually or what have you, on how it's been set up. So when I noticed that, and even though probably the team lead is not saying it, but because the HR, we are like a service support in terms of department to across board, all business units. And I see that such staff is withdrawing I have to one-on-one engage that person. Engagement in terms of inviting the person over, do you understand? And having a section, if I say I want to run a survey, the person may not be open. The person will just say, okay, fill the survey. But this one, you want to really look at the body in terms of continence, working on a person's emotion to say, oh, I'm having this conversation. Well, I've noticed you in the time past. What happened? Somehow, somehow, the person will win your trust and will start disclosing areas or policy that is presently that is not working in alignment with that person. It could be in terms of the person may be bored, maybe no job rotation, and is doing a particular, or probably in terms of career, there's stagnancy. Do you get it? It could be some of the policy of the organization is not in alignment with the person's career goal. And the person is already looking out there. I'll give you an instant. It happens. I think there was an advert we placed. One of the in-staff, because did not know and applied. Do you understand? And when I saw the CV of that person, I'm like, Priya, you've not done well. You've not observed well. For this person looking out there, it means the person is not really getting excited about the role he or she is playing, or probably the compensation in terms of the overall reward of the organization is not in line with the person's expectation. I'm not giving you a clue. So engagement will help you to open out, and the person will tell us these are areas that is happening. Oh, it could be that for my superior, my LM, these are areas I'm not working. It could be me. So the person will open up. From then, that will now guide our thoughts on how we'll be able to handle it. It could be personal issue. It could happen. It could be personal issue. So, but having that engagement will give a clue, overall clue of another the strategy that will help us to person to come out from that disengagement. That's the way I will handle it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you are very right. The first thing is we actually need to engage. If we don't hear the person out, how do we help? We need to engage. We need to even be observant enough to see that we need to engage. And that's why part of the things I put is the rest, identify the root cause, determine whether the issue stems from something. So if you don't engage, so if you identify, you have to engage the person, you understand? Schedule maybe a check-in, discuss something, but you have to engage one-on-one. We can't take that away. You know, sometimes as HR, I'm sure sometimes we get tired of talking, because we do have our own troubles and our own problems. How many do you want to carry on our head? By the time we engage one, engage two, engage three, right? But we need to engage, because the person, it could be a personal challenge. It could be that the person is not enjoying their role. The role is not even challenging enough. It could just be that the person feels unseen. You won't believe it. It might just be as small as the person feels unseen. Or, like Priya said, it could just be a job rotation that is actually just going to spark something up in the person. Like, so that's why I said realign. You can reassign tasks that match strengths. The person might just feel, I'm feeling redundant. I'm feeling like I'm not challenged enough. I'm feeling like, then provide feedback to the person. It will really, really help. But then what I said is that we should remember that disengagement is often a symptom of deeper issues. If someone is disengaged, let's not just take it for granted, like, especially if you know from day one the person has not been like that. There are some people that are naturally just nonchalant, like a desicalant, and that's already a problem which one needs to deal with right away. But if the person has not been like that, it's a deeper issue. Some people might be going through family issues. Some people might be traumatized. It could be anything, all right? Address the underlying cause rather than just the visible behavior to create lasting change. So, like Priya said, engage the person, find out what the root cause is, then find a way we can get to the bottom of it, not just address the surface by telling the person, look disinterested, what are you doing? And blah, 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 blah. So finally, as we wrap up, this one now goes, you notice a pattern of blame, gossip, low morale spreading through a previously high-performing team. Trust has eroded and team members are becoming defensive and uncooperative. When I was also coming up with this scenario myself, I was like, in this kind of situation, what's left? Something needs to be done immediately. So what I said is, one needs to identify and address negative behavior early. You know, this one is a little difficult. particularly you see when gossip starts going around or there's low morale, identifying, addressing it if you are not careful, but then it needs to be dealt with. There are certain things that if you don't cut it off from the roots, once it spreads, it's like cancer. It takes the entire team out, which is not good. Reset expectation and reinforce values. We could do that, we could do that, we could do that, it will work. Encourage open communication. Communication cannot be said enough. Even if we do it, we can still keep improving. Model the right behavior as a leader. One thing I try to always encourage is, I won't ask you to do what I don't do. I won't. And if, like I said, if I tell you coming late is coming, so I'm one of those that believe resumption is 8, right? I'm one of those that believe, like, if you get to the office at 8, you're not early. You're just right there on time. But then that's almost late, because if you get to the office at late, before you turn on your system, dust your system, some people want to say, hello, how are you, Bugbe? When are you going to start work? So when people walk into the office at 8 and I'm like, you're just, I'm like, I'm not late though, I'm early. I'm like, no, you're not early. If you want to be early, then you get to the work office before 8. Use it to settle down, set up. So that at 8 on the dot is not when you are greeting your bodies. 8 on the dot is when you start to work, because that's when the time starts to count. So when I say it, most times it can be argued with, because you will see me do it. Then one thing I also try to do in the office, so I run Ibadan region. One thing I try to do is, I get wind of any gossip, immediately I'm addressing it. You can't even come to me and start. I'll just tell you, one thing you are sure of, if I say something or you tell me something, you have to be rest assured, or you have the boldness to repeat it in front of the person you are talking about. Else don't tell me. As you said, I will repeat it like that. So if you see me, you hear me, and they know those close to me too, so you will not even do it around. So what am I trying to say? Demonstrate transparency, accountability, and respect in every interaction. Demonstrate it, so that when they even see you demonstrating it, you have they can see that you live it, you do it. I know it's a tough call sometimes, because like I said, we're still humans and we still got our own lives to live, but it's good. Your consistency in modeling desired behavior accelerates culture transformation. It's important. There are days you might also just want to, but then it's the role we've been called to. So let's live up to the expectation. So, like we always hear, culture eats breakfast for strategy. When toxic patterns take hold, swift and decisive intervention is essential to prevent organizational damage. So, take away, understand dynamic systems. Trust is the currency. Remember, trust is the currency of high-performing teams. Invest deliberately. Psychological safety drives innovation. HR as culture guidance. We are at the forefront of the culture. We are the owners. We have to run with it. We have to keep running with it, and we have to live it every day. We have to speak it. We have to do it. We have to act it in everything we do. So at the end, and having said all that, I say, do we have any questions? And I say, thank you for joining today's session on managing team dynamics and behavior. If you have any questions, I'll be willing to take it. And the one I can't answer, of course, Doctor is here to help me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed this session. Sometimes, I try to multitask because I'm almost permanently on webinars. Tonight, I could not multitask. That shows the level of how engaging your session is. Thank you so much. We'd like to take 1 or 2 comments or questions. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you would like to say something concerning tonight's topic, share an experience, ask 1 or 2 related questions, I'd like to see your hands up. We have like 3 or 4 minutes left. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the time to hesitate. Be a good team member. Raise your hands now and speak. Any contribution, any comments? All right. Okay, so I think there's a comment in the chat box. Let's see here. A staff was promoted to a supervisor, and after it was confirmed, he started showing his true color. Like he doesn't assist and always reports simple issues that HR doesn't need to hear. What can HR do about this?
Mm. Mm. Ha. Mm. Well, that's a little tricky, right? That's a little tricky. So if you were, well, let me say what I would do in this situation. What I would do in this situation, I'm quite a very interesting person. In this situation, it's where I go on another angle the person might not like. So I call the person into a meeting and I'm very direct and blunt. I'm just going to give the person, starting like this. Thank you so much for all you've been doing and I really appreciate it. Please, there are some pertinent issues we need to address. Remember, you were promoted on so dates, blah, to the role of this. Part of the reasons why you were promoted was because the organization saw in you A, B, C, D. And with the promotion comes a higher responsibility, which means we would expect you to perform A, B, C, D more, or do this more, or do that more. Unfortunately, which I might be wrong, it's just what I've been seeing, but that's why we're having this discussion. So in case I got it wrong, you can, properly guide me, right? I observe you've been A, B, C, D. This is going to be a big concern to us as an organization. And you won't want us to take this to another level or probably take it to your file. I would advise you change A, B, C, D. It's going to help you. It's going to help us as a whole. But then I will tell the person, but then that's why we're having this very friendly chat. Just in case you are not aware, I just wanted to pull to your attention because it's necessary you do with your position. These are things you should know. And I tell the person like that. Then I begin to observe the person. If I notice it still exists, I'm going to send the person a strongly worded letter emphatically stating that it's going into the person's file. And it might lead to the company taking decisions the person might not be pleased with. I don't know if that answers the question.
Okay, oh, thank you so much. We see another question here from my sister. A staff who grew from the position of HR intern to HR manager in the same organization. How can I foster teamwork as most staff do not respect my input or suggestion as they believe they think I'm not deserving of the promotion? What can I do?
My sister, there's a lot you can do. There's so much you can do. First things first. So here's the way. Now, my method might not be very, so I'm giving you responses that it has called for. There are times when you get to a point. The kingdom of God suffered violence, and violence taketh it by force. Sorry. This one has called for strict, serious measures. You grew from the position of intern to HR manager. It was not given to you. You earned it. You worked for it. You put in the hours. You put in the studying. You put in everything you had to put in together. So what you can do is this. I know while going through that transition, you would have made friends. You would have made close buddies. You would have had those people play, all the, throw banters and all of that. I tell them in my office, I don't like to pull ranks. I don't do it because I play a lot. But then my sister, this is the time you begin to establish some boundaries. Start from there. Start from some boundaries. So I had a situation one time in my organization because I do it. So boundary, we eat together, we eat lunch together. Hey, how are you? How are you? When it's time for lunch? Unfortunately, I don't want to eat at this time. I'll eat later. Gradually, you stop having all the regular lunch. Normally, it might just mean that you lose some friends. It's not because you're a bad person. First of all, establish boundaries. Then, at every opportunity, but then study to show thyself approved. A workman would need not be ashamed. Be sure of what you know and know your onions well. When you are in meetings, it's when you speak that you are sure of yourself. As HR manager, I strongly recommend that. Let it be backed up by real data, real things, real practical things, right? Then if All these things are not passing the messages across. Well, now, so why is that study show that is self-approved? They are doing business discussions. Part of what you can do, they're having business discussions. Don't get carried away on your phone. Don't look lost. Take courses on financials for financial people. Take courses on business models. Take anything that makes it. When they are discussing at the tables that it matters, make sure you have a voice that is saying something that matters. Make sure you are talking strategy. Make sure you are talking things that it's not just every regular HR. Unfortunately, because you grew through this thing, it's unfortunate you have to prove yourself. Do that. If you've done all this and some people still feel bold to still treat you like you've not earned it, nicely with a beautiful smile, tell them, you're not here by chance. You worked your way to the top. And you know your job is the reason why you're occupying this position. If they have a problem with it, they should take it up with management. But going forward, you will not tolerate being talked to in a particular way or addressed in a particular way. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, my method might not be traditional, but certain things, if it gets to that point, that's the way I'll say it. I see Omodolapo raising up her hand. I think she wants to make a comment. Omodolapo.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening. Can anyone hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. I think you did justice to that. I would just like to add to that person that another thing you can do, or one of the most important things you can do, is to get the buy-in of whoever you're reporting to, your MD, your CEO. You know, you have to be open. This is not the time to code things. You have to say, Ma, I've noticed this. I'm sure that you were promoted because that person also thinks that you can do the job. So if you're having issues on the job, the person is the first person you even go to. I've noticed that the head of production doesn't respect me. I've noticed that the head of sales is always talking to me anyhow. So when you get to meetings and maybe you are trying to raise a point, they are trying to shut you down, the MD is there to say, no, whatever Dolapo says is fine. She's the head of the people and culture. You understand? Points like that, gradually, people, or maybe something that has to do with HR, for instance, and they are going directly to the MD. My MD does that a lot. Once it has to do with people and culture or HR, she tells you, go back to Dolapo. Whatever Dolapo says, then we'll take it from there. Okay. It's also possible that while the person is leaving the office, she'll quickly send you a message. Hi, Dolapo, Bisola is coming to meet you now. She wants to discuss whatever. Let me know what you decide. Okay. So the MD, the CEO, the whatever has to be on your side too. And you have to carry the person along because they may be so busy that they are not even seeing it. You are the one in the situation, so you have to open up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omodolapo. I think that's also very fantastic. That's not just get the buy-in of the person that you report to. It is very, 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 very important. And do not be afraid to set people straight. You're not rude. You're not rude. It's with a lovely smile and politeness. Please, next time, kindly ensure this passes through me before you go directly to the MD. That's my job. I hope that can help you. And I really feel you, but please, you need to take a stand, not rudely. Please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this intersection, we need to set boundaries. In other words, we need to go and rest or do other things so that she can come back again and speak to us, teach us, share with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's unmute and let's thank, and now we know it is by initials. Let's thank SFS for what she has done for us today.
Thank you, Madam SFS, for a very, very good
Thank you, SFS.
Thank you, Madam.